course, that these Hotchkiss will be providing. In the meanwhile, my Captain Crowner has been slowly securing the northern area. The British are really laying up with a large force, lots of officers, in fact 3 lieutenants. That's absurd. And a Stuart light tank. Riflemen now moving towards the north, and there we go. Wolframen is ready to provide some heavy firepower against those dastardly allies. While seizing this point, of course, it will also be helpful against infantry. We shall have to see what happens. And there we go. Second Hotchkiss getting the upgraded gun to increase penetration and whatnot. Certainly also a bit helpful in case I do face the Stuart light tank, in which case the low velocity gun variant is not going to be so effective, whereas this one will actually be. There we go, firing away, hoping to catch this mortar team off guard. Rockets landing very inaccurately, in fact doing absolutely nothing. In the meanwhile, Allied forces are moving towards the south, airborne and an M8 armored car. And there we go, a bit of engagement right here. Hotchkiss is blasting away, hoping to catch something right there in the center. Not having much luck at the same time, and will have to soon be pulling back towards the south as Allied presence is growing there. Piat shots firing away at the Hotchkisses, only one hitting, the rest missing. The Hotchkiss not really hitting anything either, but they will have to be pulled back soon. But no, I continue through here, hoping to apply some extra pressure. The upgraded one leading the charge, firing away. Not hitting the Stuart light tank though. There we go. And Kilrathi is quick on the spot to actually use his Panzer Grenadiers to repair. And looks like this Hotchkiss is soon down. There we go, nicely done. Which gained the kill. Looks like it was the upgunned one, very nice. But Piats are moving in, and we'll certainly have to get out of there. But again, a few nice placed shots from those tanks do a bit of damage. Anti-tank half-track getting out of there. Allied airborne forces with an armored car have secured the south, but not to be deterred. The Hotchkiss light tanks are being rushed towards the south. Not entirely sure if Hotchkiss tanks would have been available at this stage, but then again, some were used as training tanks and whatnot. A parting barrage, and M8 coming under fire, taking a bit of damage. Firing away as well at the Hotchkiss. Second one joining in as well, doing quite a bit of damage. And there we go. Hotchkiss, Greyhound is no more. Nice job done from those Hotchkisses, who now continue their path towards the south, undeterred, of course, unawares that those airborne will have recoilless rifles. There we go, coming under fire from them, firing away. This one though is heavily damaged. Managed to kill out several thanks to that offensive veterancy, stopping up for some reason. And the other Hotchkiss also managed to kill, in fact, 3 airborne down already. 4 down, very nice done. Very good job from those light tanks, doing quite a bit of damage. And getting Fallschirmjägers jumping out of this building, and quick to get into it as well, hoping to catch these airborne right there. And announcing to my teammate that I've gone Luftwaffe again. Good job. And dropping a satchel charge right at the door. I of course have forgotten about this, and get out a bit too late. Oh dear, tragic. Again, you can do something like that, but then again, you should be careful. And of course, I perhaps could have tried and see if I couldn't get another other door. And Hotchkiss continuing to blast away with a small gun. Anti-tank guns being moved in though. And we are seeing a bit of engagement here in the north as well. Riflemen pulling out of there in face of the Panzer Grenadiers. British position setting up. 25-pounder gun. Luftwaffe infantry being called in, which actually ate a bit. Hotchkiss barrage blasting away, forcing out anyone left. And of course the Luftwaffe will be quick to repair this Hotchkiss and get it back into the fight. The Hotchkiss tanks certainly having proved themselves to be alright here in the fight so far. And Sappers hastily building away at this 25-pounder gun. Airborne moving in once more, and once more the Hotchkiss blasts away, killing the airborne without discrimination, not really caring that they are elite, because this is the Hotchkiss, goddammit. It has to be good at something, despite it being a French tank.
We have destroyed an enemy unit.
And indeed, the Germans had a lot of French tanks in the army right through the end. Although by the end of things, they were mostly used for training tanks and whatnot. But of course, when things require it. They're of course easily thrown into the mix of things, and there we go. Anti-tank grenades, it looks like, yes indeed, clearing out the 25-pounder gun and continuing to blast away here, wrecking it. We have a small engagement here. Hotchkiss though looking to have to get back because of the presence of the anti-tank gun. Airborne and riflemen blasting away. The Fallschirmjäger holding the line with Panzer Grenadier support, and another barrage of rockets trying its best to hit, but again not managing much, killing a few. Not the most accurate, but still can be used to at least deter the enemy a bit. And now charging in plenty of riflemen with BARs. Second Hotchkiss though joining in finally, having been fully repaired, but is instantly under attack from those anti-tank guns. Luftwaffe infantry on the spot though to offer repairs and a bit of firepower. And Panzer Grenadiers taking quite a bit of fire. Fallschirmjägers will have to retreat, and there we go. Grenades being dropped ad libitum. Not hitting anything. You should really not try to stop your throwing movements if the enemy is retreating. And Kilrathi, noting that this is in fact a bit too much for me, is moving in to support. Again, a good move. Sometimes the best thing to be achieved is sometimes joining up with your teammate and applying some pressure, which was so expertly done here. He was of course moving in slowly, I hope for. Yes, there we go. Plenty of Panzer Grenadiers to join in to support. Fallschirmjägers moving in from the north to apply a bit of pressure there. But at the same time, we are also seeing the British player being aware of this and moving in his own troops. Let's go have a look here. Kilrathi, still no doctrine, and we already are aware of most of his forces. And Anthalas of the 19th Infantry Division with the airborne has airborne infantry, air reconnaissance and strafing runs. Large force of Panzer Grenadiers moving in here, and we're also seeing a Nebelwerfer barrage doing quite a bit of damage to the lieutenants, but that's about it. Fallschirmjägers holding the line. Hotchkiss blasting away still. And we are seeing a Churchill AVRE, which of course alludes us to the fact that he's gone for these Royal Scots Engineers to assist him in the fight. Stewart is still there. Casualty clearing station, not a bad idea, but at the same time I think the American might have wanted the medic station. And looks like a lot of these, oh dear, looks like a lieutenant might be going down, crashing right through this whole force. No, gets away miraculously, and we are seeing some sort of strafing run. Yes, there, killing a few, I think, pinning down my Luftwaffe field infantry, most diabolical. And in fact, this just briefly pause. Oh my goodness, that's tragic losses from that AVRE, killing a huge blob again. It's a bit of the trouble Kilrathi you can have, I'm sure, but again, don't be careful with blobs. So for example, like Churchill AVRE, splat, you're certainly short of a lot of infantry. In this case 12, which is more or less equal to 4 teams of Panzer Grenadiers. Now let's do something a bit different and actually try and look at the situation at the moment in a freezed moment up moment. In the south we are seeing a small American position, airborne infantry, anti-tank gun and a forward barracks ready there to provide some support, reinforcement, and perhaps being able to quickly throw some further troops into the situation. Right here I am charging up for an assault. Fallschirmjägers, Panzer Grenadiers, all marching up. Light tanks, Hotchkiss variants, also joining up, ready to provide some heavy fire support, or heavier, with their rockets, guns and whatnot. Luftwaffe also on the spot. Right here in the center we are seeing numerous scout cars, in fact, some armadas and an armored car holding the center, and in the north a few Panzer Grenadiers, though deeply wounded, will have to get out of there, holding the northern victory point. In fact, so far most victory points are in the hands of the 106th Panzer Brigade Feldhernhalle. For the British though, they are suffering quite a bit, same with the Americans. The blobbing can work alright, but at the same time also very badly. As you might notice, they are taking quite heavy losses as well. And the Americans aren't doing too well either, in fact having suffered heavy losses, barely anything here. Certainly not a bad position, but at the same time, with enough pressure it will crumble and there will be nothing to actually support them. So, back to the fighting, but I just thought I'd try this to sort of sketch up things a bit and try to sort of analyze the situation before continuing on. Fallschirmjäger charging in, seeking up cover, but again having to stop because they are rifling with BARs and a lot of firepower. Hotchkiss tanks also pulling back a bit, this one looking in dire need of repairs. And what is this getting? Yes, indeed, the mortar half-track to provide some extra firepower to perhaps burn out some of these defenders. Not a bad idea. Again, combined arms can certainly be useful, and of course it will be a lot more accurate than the Hotchkiss light tanks Stuka rockets. But that's not going to stop me from firing a few shots to at least act as a nuisance and really mess up their defenses. In fact, this is forcing him to pull his anti-tank gun further back, which is certainly making it a bit easier to get my tank closer to the rest of the infantry, who are some huddling around this barracks, the others right there. And lining up for fresh assault and mortar half-track on the move as well. And looks like Kilrathi is joining in as well with Marder's armored cars. Completely neglecting the center though. Not entirely sure I'm confident with that. No armor for the British, and he's going look here, but I have absolutely no idea what he's talking about. Ah yes. Kilrathi going scorched earth. He is in fact a huge fan of that doctrine. And dropping right there, which I presumed is where the last spot of the anti-tank gun was. It wasn't, but still could have helped. Otherwise lining up. Hotchkiss is getting ready. For some reason those Luftwaffe troops are not repairing. Getting a bit lazy perhaps. And American troops really doing their best to dig in here. And Kilrathi laying down some booby traps, not a bad idea. And American troops taking quite a bit of fire. Armored car moving in from the north, Marder as well. Mortar rounds landing amongst the American infantrymen, really taking heavy casualties. Veterancy up for some of those Fallschirmjägers, gaining offensive veterancy, making them even more lethal. And don't be mistaken, Fallschirmjägers are some of the most lethal infantry in the game. Mortar rounds continuing, and more Hotchkiss rockets landing in, strafing around, killing some Panzer Grenadiers, but the rest are survived alongside those Fallschirmjägers. Quite a few rockets landing here, killing a few Panzer Grenadiers in the south, forced to retreat, but the Fallschirmjägers do continue to stick in and not retreat. They are tougher than that. And both Hotchkisses have been fully repaired by now. And Panzer Grenadiers and assault infantry moving in from the north, clearing out that anti-tank gun, making things easier for my light tanks to actually move in and clear up the rest. And now those airborne are in a lot of trouble. One though completely blowing apart an assault grenadier with a recoilless rifle shot. The rest will have to get out of there most swiftly. We are seeing a major assault right in the north, and I'm swiftly mobilizing all my forces, but we are seeing some artillery being called in, which is certainly, oh dearie me, not spotting the booby trap, and in fact losing what in fact looks like an entire infantry section. That's quite horrific. And we are seeing a Piat assault right in the south, but apparently stopping it as well rather swiftly. And what is this? A tank depot and an M4 Sherman actually getting some armor, which might be of help with some support. And we are seeing a bit of an unfortunate clumping up here, but as long as he's not aware, I'm safe. And Kilrathi storming right into the opponent's base. I'm not entirely sure what he was hoping to do. Perhaps hunt down some engineers, but it does not end up well, taking quite a bit of damage, and looks like the armored car might be lost. Or does it get out of there? No. In fact, the machine gun on the Churchill knocks it out. That's a bit of a rarity, the Churchill machine gun actually doing any kills. In fact, any tank machine gun doing any kills. Sherman, though, is ready to provide some heavier fire support. Now, I, of course, don't really have much to deal with it. I have some Hotchkiss light tanks, and that's about it. Luftwaffe field infantry with Piats, and Kilrathi, of course, has the Marder 3 somewhere. But that Sherman will certainly have a small advantage, I fear. There we go, moving in, but unsupported, not a good idea necessarily. Because even unsupported, they might still actually be able to leverage some sort of